Imagine stepping out for a quick errand
Yeah.
on a warm summer night,
Right.
only to vanish without a trace.
Wow.
That's what happened to Ann Paytis back in 1999.
Okay.
Left her family and
Yeah.
investigators
Right.
grappling with a mystery
Yeah.
for over 2 decades.
Wow.
We're going to unpack the unsolved murder
Okay.
of this 23-year-old from Saginaw, Michigan.
You said 23?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to examine the twists and turns, the dead ends,
Yeah.
and the lingering hope for answers.
I think that what's so fascinating about this case
Okay.
is the sheer amount of effort poured into solving it.
Right.
Thousands of tips.
Wow.
Multiple task forces.
Yeah.
A dedicated cold case team.
Right.
Yet Anne's killer remains elusive.
Yeah, it's almost as if the more we learn, the deeper the mystery becomes.
Exactly.
So let's start with the early morning of July 2nd, 1999.
Right.
Anne's mother, Janet, gets a call from the police about her abandoned car.
So this detail, the car found miles away in Genesee County, engine running keys in the ignition, and a dent that wasn't there before, immediately sets off alarm bells. It suggests a chaotic event, possibly a struggle or a hasty escape.
And adding to the unease, Janet realizes Anne's missing from her room.
Oh, wow.
It quickly becomes clear that this isn't just a missing car.
Right.
It's a missing person case.
The family rushes to the highway, their minds racing with possibilities.
Yeah.
They collect the car, stop by a mechanic, clinging to hope that it's all just a misunderstanding.
Yeah, but fate, as it often does, had other plans. While Janet's at work, desperately hoping for Anne to turn up,
Yeah.
a jogger on Vienna Road makes a chilling discovery.
Think about Vienna Road. It's not some secluded back road.
Right.
It's a busy route, meaning Anne's body was left in plain sight.
Oh, wow.
This detail, along with the brutality of the crime, multiple stab wounds to the head, face, and neck, suggests a level of brazenness, perhaps even a desire to send a message.
The police quickly connect the dots.
Yeah.
The abandoned car, the missing young woman, and the body found just off a busy road for Anne's family. It's a nightmare come true.
It's important to remember the emotional weight of this transition, going from worry to the devastating confirmation of a murder. And for the investigators, it marks the beginning of a long and frustrating search for answers.
They start by looking at the people closest to Anne, her boyfriend John, and her friend Max, who was with her at a bar the night she disappeared.
Both men are thoroughly investigated. Their alibis checked and rechecked. John even takes a polygraph, which comes back inconclusive, adding to the early tension of the investigation.
But ultimately, both men are cleared, leaving the investigators back at square one.
The focus then shifts to the forensic evidence collected at the crime scene. And this is where the case takes a fascinating turn. The autopsy reveals defensive wounds, suggesting Anne fought back against her attacker. Her blood alcohol level was high, but not enough to incapacitate her. And here's the crucial detail. They find a trace amount of blood on Anne's ring.
Oh, wow.
Blood that doesn't belong to her.
It's like a tiny whisper from the crime scene itself. Pointing towards the possibility of another person being involved.
This blood sample becomes a beacon of hope. A potential lead in a case shrouded in darkness. They run the DNA profile through CODIS. The National DNA Database.
Now, for our listeners who might not be familiar with CODIS, can you explain what it is and why it was so important in this investigation?
CODIS, which stands for Combined DNA Index System, is a massive database of DNA profiles collected from convicted criminals and crime scenes. It's a powerful tool for linking crimes and identifying potential suspects. However, in 1999, CODIS was still relatively new. It's much smaller than it is today, and the technology wasn't as advanced. So despite the hope that this blood sample held, the search comes back empty.
Wow.
No match.
It must have been a crushing blow for the investigators and the family.
Yeah.
But they don't give up.
They form a task force. They chase down every lead. They even look into possible connections to other crimes in the area. And one particular case catches their attention. A horrifying attack on two young sisters in Clio, Michigan.
Just weeks after Anne's murder. These sisters were kidnapped, assaulted, and left for dead.
Oh, gosh.
It's a chilling echo of the violence that took Anne's life.
Right.
And the investigators can't help but wonder if there's a connection.
This new case, this horrific attack on these young girls, it injects a new sense of urgency into the investigation.
Exactly.
What happens next?
Thankfully, the sisters survive.
Oh, good.
And are able to provide crucial information about their attacker, leading the police to a man named Jack Hall.
Jack Hall. So this is where he enters the picture. What makes him a person of interest?
Hall's behavior is suspicious from the start. When police attempt to question him, he flees, triggering a manhunt that culminates in an armed standoff.
That's not exactly the action of an innocent man.
Exactly.
Right.
And to add to this suspicion, before surrendering,
Hall cuts his hair and shaves, likely attempting to alter his appearance and evade identification.
This is a major turning point in the investigation. They finally have a potential suspect, a man who fits the profile of someone capable of extreme violence.
Exactly.
What do they do next?
They obtain a DNA sample from Hall and run it through Cody's. And here's where the case takes another unexpected turn. While Hall's DNA doesn't match the sample found on Anne's ring, it links him to a previous assault case. A brutal attack on a woman named Heidi. That occurred 6 years prior.
So even though he's not a match for Anne's case, this connection to a previous violent crime paints a very disturbing picture of Jack Hall.
Absolutely. It solidifies the investigators' belief that they're dealing with a dangerous individual. They search his truck in his home, meticulously looking for any evidence that could connect him to Anne's murder.
And what do they find?
Frustratingly, they come up empty-handed, while the inside of Hall's truck is suspiciously clean, suggesting a possible attempt to erase evidence. There's nothing concrete linking him to Anne's case.
So it's another dead end?
Not entirely. Remember, the investigation is ongoing. They haven't ruled Hall out as a suspect. And there are some unsettling details that emerged during the search of his parents' house.
What do they find?
They discover a collection of women's IDs.
Oh, wow.
And remember, Anne's ID was never recovered from the crime scene. This raises a chilling possibility. Could one of those IDs belong to Anne?
Gosh.
Unfortunately, without the IDs themselves, it's impossible to confirm.
It's like a giant question mark hanging over the entire investigation. These unidentified IDs become a haunting reminder of the unknowns surrounding Anne's case.
And despite their best efforts.
Despite the suspicions surrounding Jack Hall, the case eventually goes cold.
Oh, wow.
Years turn into decades.
And
Anne's family is left with a painful void, a lack of closure that weighs heavily on their hearts.
But as we know, the Michigan State Police never truly give up on a case.
That's right. Their commitment to seeking justice for victims is unwavering. They have a policy of reviewing inactive cases every 6 months, ensuring that even cold cases like Anne's remain on their radar.
And in 2022, over 2 decades after Anne's murder, a new development offers a glimmer of hope.
The Saginaw District forms a dedicated cold case team, breathing new life into the investigation. They meticulously re-examine the evidence, re-interview witnesses, and even confront Jack Hall in prison, hoping to elicit a confession or some new information.
Do they get anything from him?
Unfortunately, no.
Hall remains hostile and uncooperative, refusing to shed any light on Anne's case.
Another dead end. But the cold case team isn't deterred. They're determined to leave no stone unturned, to explore every possible avenue for finding answers.
They partner with students in Western Michigan University's cold case program. Bringing fresh perspectives and cutting-edge technology to the investigation.
Collaboration seems to be a common thread in many cold case investigations. The combination of experience and new ideas. It often leads to breakthroughs that wouldn't have been possible otherwise.
And in Anne's case, One particular advancement in technology emerges as a potential game changer.
Yeah.
Familial DNA testing.
Okay, now this is something our listeners might be interested in.
Sure.
Can you explain how this technique works?
Of course.
And why it's so promising?
Familial DNA testing allows investigators to search for partial matches in DNA databases, essentially looking for relatives of a potential suspect.
Oh, I see.
So even if the perpetrator's DNA isn't directly in the system, their close relatives might be providing a crucial link.
It sounds like a powerful tool.
It is.
But was it successful in Anne's case?
That's where the limitations come in.
Okay.
The sample size of the blood found on Anne's ring, remember, is incredibly small.
Yeah.
Current familial DNA testing techniques require a larger sample for a successful analysis.
So another setback.
Unfortunately, yes.
Like every step forward is met with a new obstacle.
That's the nature of cold case investigations.
Yeah.
They're complex.
Right.
They're frustrating, but they're not without hope.
It's that glimmer of hope
Right.
that keeps the investigators going, that fuels their determination to find justice for Anne and closure for her family. It's a waiting game.
Yeah.
A race against time as technology advances, hoping it'll eventually unlock the secrets held within that tiny blood sample.
Yeah.
But for Anne's family,
Right.
this waiting game is a heart-wrenching reality they've endured for over 2 decades.
Imagine living with that constant ache,
Right.
that void of unanswered questions,
Yeah.
the frustration of knowing someone out there might hold the key to solving this case.
Gosh.
It's a heavy burden for any family to bear.
Anne's brother Jason has spoken publicly about his struggle.
Oh, wow.
He says he's made peace with his sister's death,
Okay.
but the lack of answers, the not knowing, continues to haunt his family.
His words are a powerful reminder of the ripple effects of unsolved crimes.
Right.
It's not just about finding the perpetrator. It's about providing closure for the families, allowing them to finally begin to heal.
And that's why we're sharing Anne's story today. It's a call to action for anyone who might have information, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant.
Sometimes a tiny detail, something someone might dismiss as unimportant, can be the missing piece of the puzzle, the breakthrough investigators need to finally crack a case wide open.
So if you have any information about the murder of Anne Paties,
Okay.
even if you think it's been reported before, please don't hesitate to contact the authorities.
You can reach Crime Stoppers of Flint and Genesee County at 1-800-422-5245.
Right.
You can also submit tips anonymously through their website.
And if you prefer to speak directly to a detective working on Anne's case, you can email annespoltcase@michigan.gov.
Got it.
Or your call or email could be the one that brings justice for Anne and peace to her family.
And Pates deserves justice, and her family deserves closure.
Yeah.
Don't let silence be the final word on this tragedy.
Absolutely.
Let's work together to ensure that Anne's memory lives on, not just as a victim, but as a symbol of our collective commitment to seeking truth and accountability.
As we wrap up this deep dive into Anne's case, I'm left with this thought.
Okay.
What would you do if you had information about a cold case?
Right.
Would you come forward knowing you could be the one to help bring a killer to justice and provide solace to a grieving family?
Absolutely.
It's a question worth pondering, a reminder that we all have a role to play in seeking justice for those who can no longer speak for themselves.